Hello and welcome back to this week's weekly recap. Today we're looking at all things angles. So we're going to look at how to measure draw angles, angles in triangles, quadrilaterals, angles in parallel lines, and have a quick look at bearings as well. We've got a lot to get through, everything angles related. And before we start, we're just going to think about what we're going to try and achieve. Some of you already achieved that this year, so well done to everyone who's already achieved. But we're going to keep going, the rest of us, and we're going to try and get that grade at the end of the year. And how we're going to get there, we're going to work really hard. Okay, let's get on. Okay, obviously this is our protractor, just our equipment that we use to measure angles. It goes from 0 on the outside up to 180, and the same on the inside from 0 to 180. So we can see whenever we're measuring, we're either starting from here or we're starting from here. We have to be careful which one we start from. We'll look more at that as we go. So angles are broken down into 3 different types. Okay, a small angle, an angle less than 90 degrees is called an acute. An angle greater than 90 but less than 180, that's called obtuse. And an angle that is greater than 180 degrees, that is called a reflex. Okay, so you need to remember these. Less than 90 degrees is an acute. Greater than 90 degrees but less than 180 is obtuse, and greater than 180 is a reflex. And you can see here the reflex goes all the way around past 180 and it's there. Obtuse looks like it's an open face, so it's past 90 and it's going to become open, and acute is sort of in a closed space. Okay, so now we've got these angles. You have to learn how to measure them. And we're going to start by measuring these acute angles. So we need to get our angle measurer, our protractor, and we're going to make sure when we're measuring an angle that you put the center of your protractor into the middle of the angle, so right in the corner. Then I'll make my protractor a bit smaller. Right, we have a choice now. Do I start from the inside numbers or the outside numbers? You start from whichever 0 is on this flat line. So we've got this 0, so we're going to use the outside numbers. So I'm going to measure up, and I've got about 45 degrees here. So this angle here, we're going to say is 45 degrees. Okay, now I'm going to move my protractor to the second angle. I need to make sure that, again, the corner of the angle is on the center of my protractor. I turn the protractor around to put 0 on the line, and now to line it up. So now we've got 0 on the line here. We're going to use the inside numbers. So we're going to use the inside, so 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 75. Okay, so we'll label that one 75 degrees. Next one, remember this is an obtuse. Okay, so we know that it's going to be a number greater than 90. So we're looking at, got the line on here on this side. We move this up. So here's our line. I'm going to put the center of my protractor in the corner again, and I'm going to use the outside numbers to count round to 147. Or even 148, let's say. 148 degrees. If I accidentally measured from here to here, I'd get 30. Okay, so that's wrong because we know it's an obtuse angle, so it can't be anything less than 90. Okay, so just make sure measuring the inside numbers or the outside numbers correctly. Okay, so that's your acute and obtuse. Now we'll look at a reflex. There's 2 ways of measuring a reflex, and I'll show you both. Well, there's 3 ways. The best way is to get yourself a 360 protractor. Okay, that is the absolute best way to measure a reflex angle or any angle. So all you have to do is you've got a 360 protractor, You find 0. Where's 0 on here? Over here. Find 0. And you simply measure round. I'm going to use the inside numbers here, round to 230. Okay, so using a full circle protractor, we get to 230. Okay, if we don't have a full circle protractor, we're going to have to use a semicircle one. So there's a different technique. First technique, I think is probably the best, is that you, in fact, we're just going to learn this one. You measure the part that isn't shown. So if we measure this part, we put it on the corner, we move the protractor so it's on the line. We use the inside numbers because we start from this 0, and I've got 130 on that part. A full turn is 360. We've got 130, which is this part. So to get this bit, we do 360, take 130, and that's going to leave us with 0 take away 0 is 0, 6 take away 3 is 3, 3 take away 1 is 2. So 230, as we measured before, is our correct angle. Okay, so measure the part that isn't highlighted, and then take it from 360. Let's try that again. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to measure this part in here, and then I'm going to take it from 360. So get it on the line, measuring the inside numbers here. We've got 85, and the whole lot, remember, all the way around is 360. So we're going to do 360, take 85, 0 take 5 we can't do, that becomes 5, that becomes 10, 10 take away 5 is 5, 5 take away 8 we can't do, that becomes 2, that becomes 15, 15 take away 8 is 7, so we've got 275. Okay, drawing angles. So when we say construct, it just means draw, but with equipment. So in order to draw an angle, you draw a line. You put your protractor at one of the ends. Oops. Put your protractor at one of the ends. Doesn't matter which one you do. So each end, either here or here. So we're doing 40. So I'm just going to put it at this end. Then I'm going to use the outside numbers, counting up. So 10, 20, 30, 40. I'm going to make a little mark at 40. Move my protractor off. Take a ruler. I'm going to draw a straight line through that mark I've made. Then I can label this 40 degrees. So for an angle of 110, I'm going to draw a straight line. I'm going to put my protractor at the other side this time. Oh, do that again. I'll take my protractor and put it at the other side. So I'm going to put it here this time. And I'm going to measure from the outside numbers, on the inside numbers again, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 110. Okay, I'm going to make a mark at 110. So there. Move this off. With my ruler, draw a line from the corner here, up there, and we've got an angle of 110. And we know that's correct because it's an obtuse angle. Okay, if we had something that didn't look obtuse and we got 110, then maybe we've gone wrong. But this is an obtuse angle here. It looks like 110, and this is an acute angle here of 40. Okay. Okay, so here we have some problems including angles on a straight line. So here we've got some angles. If we look at the bottom of our protractor, we see that from 0 this end, and it goes to 180 at this end. Okay, so we can tell that angles on a straight line, when we've got a straight line, it's just going to be between 0 and 180. So these two, everyone between here and here, is going to be 180. So when you get to a problem like this, if we know that this is 60, we know that the whole lot is 180. We just do 180, take 60, and that'll give us our missing angle. 180 take 60, so 0 take 0, 0. 8 take away 6 is 2. 1 take away nothing is 1. So this missing angle here is 120 degrees. Here, we've got 145 this side, so we know that it's 180 altogether. So 180 take away 145. 5 take 0, 0 take 5, so we can't do. That becomes 7. 10, that's 5. 7 take 4 is 3. 1 take 1 is 0. So this angle here is 35 degrees. Same idea, just with more angles. we've got 180. We're going to take these other two away. We're going to take away, we can add these together possibly. So 30 to 30 is 60, 68, 69, 70. So 180, take away 70 is going to give us 110. 110 degrees. Okay, here again, we've got 30 and 45. So add these together to get to find out the missing part. So 40, 50, 60, 70, 75. So 180, take away 75 is 105 degrees. So that's angles on a straight line. Angles on a straight line make 180. Here we've got angles that are round in a circle. So if 180 is a semicircle, the whole circle is going to be 360. So now we're doing 360, take away the other two. So 360, take away 78, take away 200. It's going to leave us with 82 for this one. And here we've got 360, take away 84, take away 230, and that leaves us with 46 degrees here. Okay, this one, we've got an added part here, but it's more or less the same. Some of us will know and remember, or we might not know, that opposite angles, so angles that are vertically opposite, so this one and this one are equal. So opposite angles are equal. So that one's going to be 35 degrees as well. And this one will be the same. So this will be the same as x. You only need to work this part out. Oops, x degrees. We only need to work this part out. Okay? So we've still got angles on a straight line here. If you ignore this part underneath the line, we've still got a straight line that we could put our protractor on. So that's 180 altogether. And we're just going to take 180 and take 35 from it. And that is 145. So x here is 145. So this number would also be 145 as well. Okay, so that's angles around a point and angles on a straight line. Next, we're going to look at angles in a triangle. Angles in a triangle, and we might start seeing a pattern here. Angles in a triangle, the internal angles, so this one, and this one, the interior angles, all add up to 180. Okay, so there's some key numbers that keep cropping up. So this one, again, we'd add up the two unknown, the two ones we know. So 60 and 55, and then take them away from 180. 60 plus 55 is 115. So 180, take 115 is 65. So that's our missing angle there. This one, we've got this angle here. So this little square in the corner means a right angle. Spell it. It's a right angle. Oh dear. I'm having a bit of a shocker here. A right angle. And that is 90 degrees. So whenever you see this little box, it means 90 degrees. So here, to find our missing corner, we've got 180. Add 1958, which is going to give us 148. 0 take 8 we can't do, so we've got to borrow. So that's 2. 7 take away 4 is 3. And 1 take away 1 is 0. So this missing angle here will be 32 degrees. Here, this triangle is called an isosceles. We should know this now. An isosceles triangle has two sides the same, but also two angles the same. These two angles at the bottom are equal. Okay, so we've got 180. If we take off the top part, okay, we're left with 100. And that has to be split equally between, because these lines are equal, these sides are equal, and these angles are equal. We split it evenly between these two. So 180, 100 divided by 2, which is going to give us 50. So each of these angles is 50 degrees. Okay, so angles in a quadrilateral, so a four-sided shape, a quadrilateral. I wonder what number we think that's going to come out of. So 360. So a four-sided shape adds up, all the interior angles add up to 360. So to find x here, we're going to do 360, and we'll take off these 3. Remember, this one is 90. So we do 360, we take away 85, we take away 114, and that leaves us with 161 degrees. Does that look right? Have I missed something out? If we look here, that is an acute angle. Okay, it might not be drawn accurately, but we can see that's an acute angle. So what I've missed out is I've not put in this 90. Make sure that you put in the right angle as well. So that takes us down to 71, which, as we can see, is an acute angle. Does that make sense? And that's 71 degrees. So we could see, that just showed you that. I wrote a number down, and I saw that that's an acute angle. So I knew it must have been wrong. I must have made a mistake somewhere. So then we can go back, make sure we've taken away all our numbers, and that will give us our correct answer. So here we've got 125, 58, and 104. So we take those away from 360. So 360, take 125, take 104, and take away 58, and that leaves us with 73 degrees. This now move on to this shape, which is a parallelogram. Parallelogram is something really useful, and we're going to need to know it for later. The angles, opposite angles, first of all, in a parallelogram are the same. So this here will also be the same as x, whatever we find x to be. And this corner here will also be 63. But also, this angle plus this angle make 180. So all of the angles inside the parallelogram make 360, but the ones that are on top of each other, or interior on top of each other, they make 180. So to work this out, we can just do 180, take away 63. So this only applies to a parallelogram or a rhombus. It doesn't apply to any of these two. It's only in a parallelogram where we have parallel lines on the top and the bottom, and on the left and the right. So 180 takes 63. 0 take 3 we can't do. It becomes 7 and 10. So we've got 7 there. 7 take 6 is 1. And 1 take away nothing is 1. So this angle here is 117. And we can see it is an obtuse angle, so it could be 117, and it is. If you want to do it a different way, you could do 63 and 63, take them from 360, and then divide that by 2, and you would still get 117 degrees. So that's for our quadrilaterals. Okay, moving on to angles in parallel lines. So that ties right into this parallelogram we had here. They're tied in together. So here we have a parallel line, a set of parallel lines with a line cutting through it. When you cut through a parallel line, it creates angles. Okay, so we've got an angle here and an angle here. They're both obtuse, and one is on this side of the line and one on the other. When you have parallel lines with a line cutting through and you have angles that are on different sides of the line, they are called alternate angles. So when they're on different sides of the line, they're alternates, and they are equal to each other. Okay, so x here will be 142. Okay. Here we have, again, the line cutting through, but this time they're both on the same side of the line. So when they're on the same side of the line, they're called corresponding. And they too are equal. So 139 here is going to be the same as 139 here. So alternate angles are equal, corresponding angles are equal. The third one is where you have the parallel lines and the angles are both inside the parallel line. They're both inside. If we look back to our parallelogram, these two are both inside. So when they're both inside, they are called interior. And they add up to 180. So interior angles add up to 180 degrees. So here we would do 180, take away 40, oops, take away 43, and that would give us, again, 0 take 3 we can't do, that becomes 7, that becomes 10, 7, 7 take 4 is 3, 1 take nothing is 1. 143. 1 take 1 is 0, so that would be 37 degrees. Okay, so let's look at angles in parallel lines then. So here we have angles in parallel lines. So we've got two parallel lines, one here and one here. They're parallel with each other, means they're not going to meet. And we've got the angles between. So if we look back at the parallelogram, again, we've got two angles, one on top of the other. So here, this first one, angles, they're both inside the line. So they're both inside the parallel lines. There and there, they're inside. So when they're inside, we said they add up to 180. So 180 take 49 is 31. So x here is going to be 131. Okay, and the reason is that it's interior. So that's an interior angle. So remember, we have to get the angle and also have the reason. Okay, this one over here. So here's our line that goes through. If we look at the two angles, we've got one on this side and one on this side. So if on different sides, we said they are called alternate. And they are equal. So x here is going to be equal to 140 degrees. It's down here. Here's our line going through. And we've got an angle on this side and an angle on this side. So again, we've got alternate. And x is going to equal 142. Okay, because they're alternate angles and alternate angles are the same. So this next one, here's our line. Okay, they're on the same side. Okay, so if the same side is one of two things, interior or corresponding. They're not on top of each other, one directly on top of each other like that. So it's not interior, so this is corresponding. Corresponding, and corresponding angles are equal. So this is going to be, x is going to be equal to 143 degrees. Okay, down here, we've got an angle here. Here's our line. And another angle here. Again, they're on the same side of the line, but they're not on top of one each other. So again, that is corresponding. And x is going to be equal to 142 degrees. And the final one, here's our line. They're both on the same side of the line, so it's either corresponding or interior, but they're next to each other, and they're both inside the line. If we see there, they're inside the lines, so these are interior. Okay, interior, inside, but if you're an interior designer, you'd be inside, designing the inside, so it's the inside of the two parallel lines, so it's an interior angle. Interior angle's out to 180, so it's 180, take 49, which is 31. 131. Okay. So finally, moving on to bearings. So when we're measuring bearings, we need 3 bits of information. We have to measure from north, we always have to measure clockwise, and our answer has to be in 3 digits. So what is the bearing of B from A? So a bearing is a direction, basically, that we use. So in order to find a bearing, you need to know which way north is, because we said we have to measure from north. So we just draw 2 lines going straight up. Okay, so there are north lines. And then I would recommend joining up the 2 locations A and B. So we've joined up A and B, and we've got these 2 north lines here. Okay, so that's how you want to set it up when you're measuring a bearing. What is the bearing of B from A? So from is really important here. When you're going from, that means you put your protractor on the way you're going from. We're measuring from there. So we're starting at A. We're going from A. So we're starting at A. So we're going to put this on A, and we're measuring from north. So that means we have to start at the top and measure round. So we're starting at the top and we're measuring round from north, round, using the outside number, starting at 0 That's going to take me down to 110. So my bearing here is 110 degrees. Okay. So we've got another example here. This might be how it appears in the exam. Diagram shows the position of two telephone masts, A and B. Measure the bearing of B from A. So we take our protractor. We're going B from A. If we're going from A, that means we have to go put the protractor on A. So you put your protractor on A. You measure round. So from the top, we're using outside numbers. We're coming down to B, which is about 65. Okay, so if I write down 65 here, it's only one mark. Look, it's only one mark. If I write down 65 as a bearing, that wouldn't get me any marks, because if we look back, a bearing has to be 3 digits. So I've done 2 parts right. I've measured clockwise, I've measured from north, but because I've not put the 0 here, I wouldn't have got the mark. So you need to make sure when you're doing a bearing, when you're writing down a bearing, it has to be 3 digits. Okay. The next part of bearings is when we actually use them to find somewhere else. So another mast, C, is on a bearing of 160 degrees from B. On the map, it's 4 centimeters from B. Mark the position of C with a cross and label it C. So we're doing 160 from B. So that means we're putting our protractor on B, put the center on B, make sure it's like a capital D. We're going to measure 160, so around the outside to 160 down here. Make a mark, move your protractor off, and then you need your ruler, and it says it needs to be 4 centimeters from B. So it's 4 centimeters from B. Again, we're putting the end of our ruler, the 0, on B. Then we're going to turn our ruler to get it to the same bearing, and then we're going to measure 4 centimeters. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's our mark. It's on the right bearing, that's the right distance. So we put our cross on that, put our cross there, and that's going to be point C. Okay, so that's a very brief overview of the basics on angles, everything you need to know on for the basics of angles to get you started. Obviously, we'll go into some more depth later on in the year, but that is everything you need to know. So pay careful attention to the angles on parallel lines, because that always comes up every year, and also have a look at the bearings, maybe revise that, because that's something that a lot of us struggle with. Okay, so thanks for sticking with me through this. Again, we need to think, going out of this video and going back to lessons and thinking about how the work we're doing, what would you want to get at the end of the year? Are you willing to put the effort in? You need to be really pushing yourself now to do the best you can. Watching these videos is really going to help you with revision. So what do we want to get at the end of this year? We want to achieve this grade. We want to achieve the next steps. And how are we going to get there? We've got to work really hard now. It's time to get your head down and start really, really working hard. And you can do it. I believe you can do it, but you just need to be getting on and helping me help you. Okay, great. Thanks a lot.